All right, welcome back to Occult Archives. We usually dive into, scary stories and myths, but today we're switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
We're heading into the world of alchemy.
A different kind of scary.
Yeah, kind of scary, right? It's like
Mhm.
a whole world of mystery and, secret formulas
And magic and
and magic, exactly. So for episode 129, we're cracking open instructions respecting the art of transmuting and ameliorating the metals.
oh, that's a mouthful.
I know, right? It's a very long
It's
title.
a very long title.
But it sounds pretty promising, right? Like we're going to learn how to turn lead into gold, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
So what makes this one stand out, compared to all the other alchemical texts out there?
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, it's from 1797.
Oh,
Relatively recent.
fairly recent, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in alchemical terms, that's practically modern. So it's written by William Baron von Schroeder,
Okay.
who claims to have actually witnessed and performed these transmutations.
Oh,
So this isn't just some, theoretical rambling. It's supposed to be based on actual experience.
that's exciting.
Yeah. And it's not just von Schroeder's word we have here either. The translator, S. Bacstrom, he includes quotes and insights from some of the biggest names in alchemy,
Oh, like who?
like Basil Valentine, T.G. Tugal, M. Pot, you know, the all-stars.
So it's like a roundtable discussion across centuries.
Exactly. It's a conversation that's been going on for hundreds of years
Wow.
about this ultimate alchemical goal of transmuting metals.
So I guess our mission today is to figure out what exactly von Schroeder is claiming about, actually changing one metal into another
Right.
based on what he's seen and what he's learned from these other alchemists.
Right. Like, what did he actually do? What did he actually see?
Let's do it. Let's jump in.
Okay.
So right off the bat, von Schroeder says he's not trying to start any arguments.
He just wants to share the truth.
He's just laying it out there. He says he's seen some things, he's done some things, and he feels like it's his duty to share this knowledge, right?
Yeah. It's almost like, I've seen it, I can't not tell you about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of tone.
And to back up his claims, he starts by name-dropping some pretty serious figures in alchemy.
Oh, yeah. He brings out the big guns right away.
Yeah, he does. Like, who does he mention?
Well, first up, we have Paracelsus,
Oh, of course.
who's like, the rock star at alchemy.
Yeah, a legend.
A legend.
Mhm.
And von Schroeder claims that it was positively known that Paracelsus could transmute both mercury and lead into gold,
Wow.
and that even his enemies couldn't deny it.
Oh, interesting. So he's kind of setting a precedent.
Yeah, he's saying, look, even the greats believed in this.
Right.
And if Paracelsus could do it, why not me, right?
Exactly. Then he brings up another fascinating figure, Raymundus Lullius,
Oh,
who apparently had some pretty high-profile clients.
yeah, he did. According to von Schroeder, Lullius was actually commissioned by King Henry of England to make gold.
Oh, royal alchemist.
Royal alchemist. And the gold was supposed to fund the Crusades.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it really makes you think about the role of alchemy in history.
Yeah, the potential impact it could have had.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine if they could just conjure gold out of thin air. The whole world would be different.
absolutely. But the story gets even more interesting. What happened with Lullius and the king?
Well, according to von Schroeder, things took a turn for the worse. Apparently, the gold was used to fight France instead of funding the Crusades.
Oh, that's a big no-no.
Huge no-no.
Yeah,
So Lullius ends up in the Tower of London,
imprisoned.
imprisoned. And von Schroeder even claims to have seen some of the coins.
Really?
Yeah, rose nobles, he called them, made from that very gold.
That's wild. I mean, it's hard to know what to make of these stories.
Right.
They're so fantastic, but
Yeah.
part of me wants to believe it.
Right. The allure of the myth, the legend.
Exactly. But, von Schroeder doesn't stop there. He then brings it closer to home, so to speak, with some German examples.
Yeah, he gets more specific, more grounded.
He talks about this gold house in Dresden,
The Gold House.
which sounds amazing, really.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's like, did that actually exist?
Right. And he basically challenges anyone who doubts him to go to Dresden and see for themselves.
He's like, go check it out.
Right. He claims that transmutations were happening under Elector Augustus.
Under Electress Anne, their son, Christianized.
A whole dynasty of alchemists.
Yeah, basically.
That's amazing. And he even suggests that some of Dresden's magnificent buildings
Yeah, the architecture.
might have been funded by, alchemically produced gold.
Secret gold.
It's a pretty bold claim. I mean, it really adds a whole other layer to those buildings, doesn't it?
Yeah, you start looking at them differently.
Right. So where's the proof? Where's the evidence for all this?
Well, von Schroeder tells us to go to the electoral libraries, the secret chancery, and look for chemical records.
Ah.
Journals, manuscripts, all that kind of stuff.
So he's like, the receipts are out there.
Yeah, the receipts are out there if you can find them.
But they're hidden, right?
Hidden, yeah. That's the nature of this art. And then he mentions that the official accounts, the public records,
Yeah.
don't show any corresponding expenses for producing this gold.
It's a secret source of wealth.
It's a secret. So we're getting into, conspiracy theory territory a little bit here.
A little bit.
Which is always fun.
Always fun.
Okay, so after Dresden, where does the alchemical journey take us?
Well, next stop is Vienna.
Okay.
And here, von Schroeder tells us about a guy named Baron Chaos.
Baron Chaos.
Baron Chaos. It's a great name.
It is a great name. What did he do?
So Baron Chaos gets this powder, right? This projection powder.
Magic powder.
From the Earl of Mansfield, no less. And using this powder, he makes gold right in front of Emperor Ferdinand III.
Oh, wow. An imperial audience.
An imperial audience.
That's impressive. So I guess the emperor was convinced.
Yeah, you bet he was. So convinced, in fact, that he makes chaos a count of the empire.
Wow. So alchemy can lead to social mobility.
It can. It's a good takeaway. That's a good takeaway. So was this, a one-time thing? Were there other examples in Vienna?
Oh, there are more. Von Schroeder mentions a gold medal in the Imperial Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, a cabinet of curiosities.
Yeah, one of those rooms full of wonders and weird stuff.
Yeah.
And this medal was supposedly made from mercury during Ferdinand III's reign.
So more alchemical evidence.
Yeah, right there in the museum, theoretically.
So are we talking like solid evidence here? Like scientifically proven?
Well, that's the thing with a lot of these alchemical stories.
Yeah.
They're anecdotal, hard to verify,
Yeah, but it's still fascinating. So who else did their alchemical thing in Vienna?
Well, we also have Wenzel, who later became Baron of Rheinberg.
Okay.
Apparently, he was known for performing multiple projections, like public demonstrations of transmutation.
Oh, like a magic show, but with alchemy?
Right, exactly. And the reigning emperor saw it, along with lots of other people.
Wow, so it was like a big event.
Yeah, big deal.
But what's interesting about both Baron Chaos and Wenzel is that
Neither of them could actually prepare the tincture themselves. They got it from someone else.
So they were like the performers, not the creators.
Exactly.
It really shows how secretive alchemical knowledge was.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, you could know how to use it,
yeah,
but not necessarily how to make it.
Right. So the real power lay in the knowledge of how to create these substances.
Absolutely. And to add even more to this whole transmutation thing,
Yeah.
von Schroeder mentions Dr. Helvetius's account from The Hague,
Okay.
which he suggests everyone read about in his book, The Golden Calf.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here with these titles.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain flair for the dramatic.
Yeah, a lot of gold imagery.
Like hinting at this hidden value and maybe even a bit of, obsession with wealth.
Okay, so what was Helvetius's story all about?
Well, it's another pretty famous alchemical account,
Okay.
often cited as proof by those who believe in transmutation.
Ah, so it kind of adds to the weight of evidence?
Yeah. Like von Schroeder's saying, look, I'm not the only one saying this.
Okay, so after Paracelsus, Lullius, all these barons and doctors, who else makes an appearance in von Schroeder's alchemical lineup?
Well, next up, we have Baron Wagner Echo.
Baron Wagner Echo, another baron. These barons are really into alchemy.
Right, it's like a baron thing.
Yeah, baron thing. So what did this Baron Echo do that was so special?
He was known for having this incredibly potent tincture.
Okay.
Like 1 grain of this stuff could supposedly transmute over 3.5 lot of base metal into pure gold.
3.5 lot. So how much is a lot?
It was an old unit of weight, like about ½ ounce.
Okay, so we're talking a significant amount of gold here.
Oh yeah, massive.
If this is true, this guy was the real deal.
Right.
But I mean, how do we know if it actually happened?
Well, von Schroeder says there were tons of witnesses in Prague,
Okay.
and that they even got samples of the transmuted gold.
So, like, show and tell.
Yeah, show and tell without chemical gold.
That's pretty convincing. Did he say anything about how Baron Echo actually did it?
He does, actually. He mentions a mercurial water,
Okay.
probably a special, prepared form of mercury,
Yeah.
and a subtle crocus of gold.
Okay, so what's that?
So that would be a super refined form of gold, maybe a powder.
Right.
And he talks about using an Athanor furnace.
Oh, what's an Athanor furnace?
It's a specific kind of furnace for alchemy,
Okay.
built for long, slow heating.
Ah, I see.
And he even talks about the colors changing during the process. How they go through the classic alchemical stages,
Right, right.
which were considered like signs that the transformation was happening.
So it's almost like he's giving us a recipe, right? But I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than it
Oh,
sounds.
yeah, way more complicated. This is alchemy, remember?
Right, full of secrets and hidden knowledge.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got these amazing stories of transmutation from the past.
Yeah.
But was this just a historical phenomenon, or is von Schroeder saying this is still happening in his time?
Well, he claims that there are people alive right now
Oh,
who
wow.
possess this knowledge.
So the alchemists are still out there.
They're out there working in secret.
And he says he knows some of them personally.
Yeah, he even talks about someone he knew who went from rags to riches using this art.
So it's not just theory for him, it's like he's actually seen the results.
Exactly. To make it even more real, he tells the story of Summer,
Okay.
this Dutch goldsmith in Vienna, who supposedly used a tincture to fix mercury.
What do you mean by fix mercury?
So that means turning it into a solid form.
Oh, okay.
And not just any solid, but pure silver.
That's incredible.
Right. And what's important here is that von Schroeder says he saw this happen with his own eyes.
He was there.
He was there. It wasn't just a story he heard.
Okay, so what was this magic tincture made of?
Well, he describes it in two forms.
Okay.
One was a gray powder,
Uh,
and the other was this red fixed glass.
oh,
Yeah. And he tries to break down the composition, talking about fixed arsenic and a tinging powder made from copper, verdigris, lead, and antimony.
okay, so it's starting to sound a little more, chemical, right? Like we're getting into actual ingredients and processes.
Let's get more concrete.
And to wrap up this whole section on the reality of transmutation, he shares this Moravian account
Okay.
where silver was supposedly turned into high-carat gold
Wow.
using a special powder during this process called cementation.
Yeah, cementation, it's a method of refining metals
Okay,
using powders.
right. So he's really building up this case for transmutation, isn't he? Drawing on all these different sources and stories.
Yeah, he's making a point.
It's pretty fascinating.
It is.
Hmm.
I mean, even if you're skeptical,
Yeah.
you got to admit it's a good story.
Absolutely. Okay, so von Schroeder's given us this whole history of transmutation, all these accounts of people actually doing it.
Yeah.
But does he go beyond just stories? Does he actually give any specific examples of how it's done?
He does. He moves from anecdotes to, like, experiments.
Oh, okay.
He describes these demonstrations that he claims prove his point.
Oh, that's interesting. So, like, step-by-step instructions.
Sort of. The first one involves melting silver and Hungarian copper together.
Okay.
Hungarian copper, the good
Like
stuff.
6 copper.
Right. Then he granulates it, which means, like, turning the molten metal into little grains.
Yeah.
And then he mixes it with this amalgamated mercury sublimate.
Amalgamated, what does that mean?
Basically, it means mercury that's been combined with another metal.
Oh, okay.
And sublimate means it's been purified by heating.
Okay, so we're already dealing with, pretty complex substance here.
Right, this is alchemy. We're not baking a cake here.
Exactly. So what happens next?
Okay, so they heat this whole mixture in a retort.
Retort.
It's a special glass vessel used for distillation.
Ah, okay, like separating the different components.
Right, so they distill off the mercury, and what's left is this, like, gum-like substance. Yeah, it melts easily, and it's combustible, meaning it can burn.
Okay, so what do you do with this gum-like stuff?
So he says you take this substance and you project it into molten lead.
So basically add it to the lead.
Right, and then you do this process called cupellation.
Cupellation, that sounds intense.
It is. Basically, you melt the metal in a shallow dish and blow air over it
Oh, okay.
to refine it.
Okay.
And what you end up with is this pure metal. Then you dissolve that in aquafortis, which is nitric acid.
Oh, okay. Strong stuff.
Yeah. And a small amount of fine gold appears.
So the gold just like magically shows up.
Well, not magically, but it's produced from the process.
Wow.
Yeah. He also mentions that half the silver is lost during the process through volatilization.
So it just evaporates.
Basically, yeah. And he points this out as something worth noting.
Like, hey, pay attention to this detail.
Right. It's all part of the process.
Okay, so that's one experiment. Does he give any other examples?
He does. He challenges those who don't believe, especially chemical artists, to try this experiment with cinnabar.
Cinnabar. Remind me, what's that again?
Mercury sulfide,
Oh,
the main ore of mercury.
right. Okay, so what's the experiment?
So you take fine silver filings and common cinnabar, dry them with egg white.
Egg white.
Yeah, that's like a binder, I guess.
Okay.
You roll that all up in more silver filings.
All right.
Then you layer it in a glass vessel.
Mm.
Then you use an alembic.
Alembic. Is that like a...
Another distillation apparatus.
Oh, okay, got it.
But you leave it unluted,
Unluted.
meaning not sealed airtight.
Okay.
You heat it, first from the top, then from the bottom. The mercury vapor gets collected in a water-filled receiver.
Okay.
Again, no luting, so it doesn't explode.
Right. Safety first.
Safety first in alchemy.
So what happens after all that?
You end up with the silver reduced to ashes, the cinnabar stays black, and you get this weird silver,
Weird how?
that aqua fortis, that nitric acid can't dissolve.
So it's like super silver.
Yeah, he calls it lunafix.
Ooh, lunafix. I like that.
Yeah, it's poetic.
It is.
Right? Like fixed, unchanging silver.
Right.
And then he ends with this phrase,
Yeah.
Pythagorean transmutation of bodies and spirits.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like he's saying it's not just about changing the physical metal.
Right.
It's about transforming its essence, maybe even its spirit.
Exactly. There's a deeper level to this.
Right, like a philosophical dimension to alchemy.
Definitely. And that leads us into the more theoretical part.
Okay.
He starts talking about the different approaches to alchemy.
Okay.
He mentioned Stahl, this chemist, who noticed how different alchemists would have different procedures.
Oh, so there wasn't like one set way of doing things.
Right. It depended on what they were working with.
Ah, I see. So it was very specific to the material.
Exactly. And he also talks about the secrecy, the way alchemists wrote in this obscure, almost coded language.
Yeah, that's always been a thing with alchemy, right?
Yeah, they wanted to protect their secrets
Keep the knowledge hidden.
and sometimes even mislead people.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a puzzle.
Yeah, a puzzle wrapped in a riddle.
So were all alchemists like this, super secretive and cryptic?
Well, von Schroeder singles out a couple who he thought were more straightforward.
Oh, okay. Who were they?
Raimundus Lullius, again,
Okay.
and Basilius Valentinus.
Okay. So what did they do differently?
He considered them more honest in their writing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he advises the reader to look for, like, the common threads,
Okay.
the points of agreement between these main alchemists.
Ah, I see.
And to focus on obtaining this,
Mm-hmm.
he pauses. Well, there's a missing word here, but it seems like a specific substance
Okay.
and a sublimate of mercury
The sublimate of mercury again.
from one starting material. So it's like cut through the noise and focus on the core principles and processes.
Right, get to the essence of it.
Exactly.
So are there any other specific techniques or processes that he mentions?
Well, he talks about Tugel,
Okay.
who had this method for making a genuine sublimate of mercury, and a philosophical salt, which is this purified salt with special properties.
Okay.
And he gets it from this crude red calamineris, which is a zinc ore.
Okay. So we're getting into, specific minerals and stuff now.
Yeah, it's getting more technical.
So it's like he's really building up this body of practical knowledge.
Exactly. Like, here's what works, here's how to do it.
So what about this first matter everyone keeps talking about? The fundamental substance that everything comes from. Does he have any thoughts on that?
Oh, he does. He's not a fan of some of the more common ideas out there,
Okay. Like what?
like using things like urine, excrements, hair, dew, even some minerals.
Oh, so the more out there stuff.
Yeah, he calls them foolish things.
Okay.
But he does point out that Basilius Valentinus actually names a specific matter in his writings.
Oh, really? So he just comes right out and says it?
Well, sort of. He
Right.
names it, but he doesn't give all the details.
Oh, of course not.
The signs, the timing.
The secret code.
It's like, I'll tell you what it is, but good luck figuring out the rest.
Right. So it's not as simple as just knowing the name.
Not at all. He emphasizes that you need to understand the deeper nature of the substance, the right time to collect it, how to prepare it.
Right. So there's this whole hidden knowledge behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he says that if you can master this first step,
Yeah.
if you can identify the right material and get that sublimate of mercury,
Okay.
you basically have the key to the whole thing.
To transmutation. Yeah. So is he giving us the key here? Is he telling us what this matter is?
Well, not directly,
Mm-hmm.
but he does mention Bernhardus Trevisanus.
Another alchemist.
Right, another big name. And he says Trevisanus gives clearer instructions on how to work with the sublimate of mercury.
Okay.
But if you can get the genuine universal mineral subject in the first place,
The big if.
always the if with alchemy, right?
Okay, so what about Basilius's process? The one von Schroeder seems to prefer.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. It's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so tell me about it.
So he quotes Basilius at length,
Okay.
describing how it all works. It starts with grinding together this red quicksilver ore, which looks like cinnabar, and the best gold ore.
Okay, so cinnabar again. And what was the gold ore?
He specifies Hungarian antimony.
Okay, so two specific minerals.
Yeah. And then you mix that with a powder of mercury sublimate.
Okay, that purified mercury again.
Right. And then you digest it for a whole month.
A month.
Yeah. Digestion is this alchemical term for gentle heating over a long period.
Oh, okay. So it's like slow cooking for alchemy.
Exactly. And after a month, you get this heavenly extraction.
Heavenly extraction, that sounds pretty impressive.
Right. Like something special has happened.
Yeah. So what's next?
Well, then you carefully distill it to separate the phlegm.
Phlegm.
Yeah, the watery impurities from this ponderous glass that's left at the bottom.
Ponderous glass.
Yeah, it's like this heavy, dense substance.
Okay. What's so special about this ponderous glass?
Well, Basilius claims it can dissolve any metal instantly. Like imagine that. You drop a piece of iron in there and poof, it's gone.
That's pretty wild.
Right.
Okay, so what do you do with this super solvent?
So then you add rectified spirit of wine.
Okay, so like pure alcohol.
Exactly. You add it in stages with more digestion after each addition.
Okay.
And you do this until the mixture turns blood red and sweet.
Blood red and sweet. It sounds like a potion or something.
Right. And then you distill off the spirit of wine and you repeat this whole process.
Oh, wow. So it's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, until the glass is saturated, sweet, ruby red, and completely transparent.
Okay, so it sounds like a very specific color and consistency.
Yeah, it's all about those subtle details.
Okay, so we've got this saturated ruby red glass. What's the final step?
Well, you distill it one last time with calcined, pause something. There's another missing word here.
Oh, come on. They can't just leave us hanging like that.
But anyway, this last distillation produces a sublimate of mercury
Okay.
that's now carrying its sulfur and salt.
Okay, so the three essential principles,
It's
Yeah.
exactly.
they're all combined now.
All in one liquid.
Yeah.
And Basilius says that if you dissolve gold in this,
Yeah.
you can fix the whole thing into a tincture.
Ah, so this is how you create the tincture.
The tincture, yeah. The potent medicine, the transformative agent.
And this tincture, what can it do?
Well, he claims it can heal diseases and even generate wealth.
Wow. So it's like the ultimate alchemical medicine.
Right, the elixir of life and wealth.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. I mean, it's a very complex process.
Yeah.
A lot of steps, a lot of specific details.
But it's fascinating to see how he lays it all out.
Definitely. It gives you a glimpse into the mind of an alchemist.
Absolutely. Okay, so after walking us through this whole process, von Schroeder then shifts gears a bit, right?
Yeah, he gets into his own theories about how metals are formed.
Oh, interesting. So he's not just relying on other alchemists' ideas.
Right. He has his own thoughts on the matter.
So what's his theory?
Well, he believes that metals are formed naturally within the Earth
Okay.
through the influence of celestial bodies.
So like the planets and stars?
Exactly. And also subterranean processes.
Okay, so things happening deep underground.
Right. And these forces, he says, they create this saline essence,
So saline essence. Okay.
which then turns into ponderous metallic water.
Okay.
And he equates that to quicksilver or mercury.
Ah, so mercury is like the starting
Like
point.
base metal. Yeah.
And then eventually this matures into gold or silver.
Right. And the metals found closer to the surface, they're less mature.
Okay, so it's like a process of refinement.
Exactly. It's like nature is doing alchemy all the time.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. So if nature is doing alchemy, what does that mean for alchemists?
Well, he suggests that we should be looking for these, quote, vile and unworthy substances.
Vile and unworthy.
Yeah, because they might actually be metals in their early stages.
Oh, I see. So like before they become gold or silver.
Exactly. It's about finding the potential.
Right, like the hidden gold within the lead.
Exactly.
Okay, so that brings us back to this first matter idea. The fundamental substance that everything is made of.
The elusive prima materia.
Does von Schroeder finally reveal what it is?
Well, not exactly. He dismisses a lot of the common ideas.
Okay, like what?
Things like urine, excrements, hair, dew.
Oh, so the more like bodily fluids and stuff?
Yeah, he says those are foolish things.
Okay, so he's not into that.
But he does acknowledge that Basilius names a specific matter.
Oh, so he does give us a clue.
But he doesn't tell us everything we need to know.
Of course not.
He leaves out the signs, the timing,
The secrets.
the secrets, yeah. It's like you're on your own from here.
It's so frustrating. But I guess that's part of the mystery of alchemy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just the first matter that's a source of confusion.
Yeah.
Different.